The arrival of the Curators. The sky shimmered with impossible colors, a blend of gold and indigo that defied the laws of earthly physics. The air crackled with energy as the first of the Curator ships descended. Massive and ancient, the vessel seemed more like a relic from a forgotten epoch than a creation of advanced technology. Its hull was a patchwork of materials, some gleaming with a polished sheen, others weathered and scarred by the ravages of millennia. The ship landed without a sound in the heart of Earth's central Commonwealth Plaza, the world's nerve center for diplomacy and governance. All eyes were on the massive alien construct, and the atmosphere was thick with tension. Broadcasts streamed across the globe, carrying the same message in countless languages. The Curators have arrived. For centuries, humanity had heard whispers of the Curators, an enigmatic species said to roam the galaxy, guiding civilizations at pivotal moments in their development. Legends painted them as both saviors and destroyers, their actions incomprehensible to those they encountered. Some claimed they were gods, while others called them the ultimate scientists, dispassionate in their quest to shape the cosmos. Now they had come to Earth. Inside the Commonwealth's high-security observation chamber, a small team of leaders and specialists prepared to meet their unexpected visitors. Among them was Dr. Elena Marquez, an expert in xenoarchaeology, and Colonel Daniel Harper, a grizzled military strategist who had seen humanity through its darkest conflicts. Both had been summoned at a moment's notice, and the gravity of the situation was not lost on them. "They're watching us," Harper muttered, glancing at the massive screen that displayed a live feed of the alien vessel. Its surface seemed alive, pulsating faintly as if responding to their presence. "They've been watching us for far longer than we realize," Marquez replied, her tone steady but tinged with awe. She clutched a tablet displaying fragments of ancient glyphs that bore a striking resemblance to markings visible on the alien ship. "This is their signature. These symbols have appeared on ruins across a dozen star systems, always predating the rise of intelligent life. It's as if they were planting seeds." Before Harper could reply, the chamber's comm system buzzed to life. "We have contact," a voice announced. "The Curators are requesting an audience." The room fell silent. Every individual in the chamber turned toward the entrance, where a shimmering portal of light had formed. The air grew heavy, as if the very fabric of reality had bent to accommodate the arrival of something otherworldly. From the portal emerged three figures. The Curators were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Their forms were humanoid but impossibly elongated, with skin that shimmered like liquid metal. Their faces were featureless save for glowing, orb-like eyes that radiated intelligence. Each movement they made was unnaturally smooth, as though gravity itself bent to their will. When they spoke, their voices resonated in the minds of everyone present, bypassing the need for spoken language. "We are the Curators. You stand at a precipice." Harper straightened, his soldier's instincts kicking in despite the sheer alien presence before him. "A precipice of what?" he demanded. "Survival or oblivion," the Curators replied in unison. Their telepathic voices were neither hostile nor comforting, they were simply matter-of-fact. "Your species has reached a critical juncture. We have come to guide you as we have guided many before." Marquez stepped forward, her academic curiosity overpowering her fear. "Why now? What is it about this moment in our history that warrants your intervention?" One of the Curators turned its glowing gaze toward her, its eyes intensifying as if it were studying her very essence. "The threads of your civilization have grown taut. Your technological progress is extraordinary, but your social cohesion falters. Wars rage on the fringes of your territories. Environmental systems are on the verge of collapse. Left unchecked, your trajectory leads to ruin." "Then why not intervene earlier?" Marquez pressed, her voice shaking slightly. "Why wait until we're on the edge of destruction?" "Because you would not have listened," the Curator answered. "A species must come to understand its fragility before it can accept guidance." Harper's jaw tightened. He wasn't sure he liked the implications of their words. "And what exactly does your guidance entail? We've heard stories about you, about how you've guided other civilizations. Some say you destroyed them." "Not destroyed," the Curators corrected. Refined. "Those who resist the path often find themselves consumed by their own chaos. We do not interfere directly. We illuminate possibilities. The choice remains yours." The chamber fell silent again, the weight of their words settling heavily over the humans present. Marquez's mind raced with questions. The Curators' glyphs, their ancient influence on countless worlds, what was their ultimate purpose? And why had humanity, out of all the species in the galaxy, been deemed worthy of their attention now. Before she could voice her thoughts, the lead curator extended a hand, or what passed for a hand, toward her. In its palm, a small, crystalline object materialized, glowing faintly with an inner light. It floated toward Marquez, who instinctively reached out to take it. "This is the archive," the curator explained. Within it lies the collective history of all those we have guided. Study it well, for it holds the lessons of countless civilizations. Marquez's breath caught as the object rested in her hands. It felt impossibly light, yet she could sense the immense weight of its contents. Images and sounds flickered at the edges of her consciousness, fragments of alien histories that begged to be understood. Harper, ever the pragmatist, took a step closer. "And what happens if we decide we don't want your guidance? What if we choose our own path?" The curators turned their glowing eyes toward him, their collective gaze piercing. "Your path is always your own. But know this, the galaxy is not a place of infinite second chances. The choices you make in the coming years will determine not only your survival but your place among the stars." With that, the curators began to retreat toward the portal. Their movements were fluid, almost hypnotic, as if they were beings made of light rather than matter. Before disappearing, the lead curator spoke one final time. "You have been given the tools. Use them wisely." And then they were gone, leaving the humans alone with their thoughts, and the archive. The room erupted into conversation, but Marquez barely noticed. Her focus was on the crystalline object in her hands, its glow pulsating softly. She could feel its ancient energy, a connection to something far greater than humanity's limited understanding of the universe. "We have to analyze this," she said, her voice trembling with urgency. "This archive, it could change everything we know about ourselves and our place in the galaxy." Harper frowned, his instincts warning him of the dangers ahead. "Or it could be a trap. We don't know what they've hidden in there, or what their true intentions are." Marquez met his gaze, her eyes alight with determination. "If we don't try, we'll never know." Harper sighed, running a hand through his graying hair. He didn't trust the curators, not yet, but he trusted Marquez. "All right," he said reluctantly. "Let's see what's inside." As the team prepared to unlock the secrets of the archive, the weight of the curator's warning hung over them. Humanity stood at a crossroads, and the path forward was fraught with uncertainty. But one thing was clear: the hands that had guided countless civilizations through the eons were now reaching out to them. Whether those hands were benevolent or manipulative remained to be seen. Unveiling the archive. Dr. Marquez sat in the Commonwealth state-of-the-art analysis chamber, her eyes fixed on the crystalline archive. It floated midair, suspended in an anti-gravity field, its glow pulsating softly like a heartbeat. Around her, the chamber buzzed with activity as scientists and technicians scrambled to prepare the equipment needed to interface with the artifact. But despite the technological flurry, Marquez felt the weight of history bearing down on her shoulders. The archive wasn't just an object, it was a bridge to countless civilizations, each one with its own story, its triumphs and its tragedies. Colonel Harper stood by the observation window, his arms crossed as he surveyed the room with a wary eye. "You sure this thing isn't going to fry our systems or, I don't know, our brains?" he asked, his tone tinged with skepticism. Marquez shot him a glance, half amused, half annoyed. "If the curators wanted to harm us, they've had millennia to do it. This archive is a gift, one we can't afford to ignore." "Or a test," Harper muttered under his breath. "I don't trust gifts from entities that can bend reality." Before Marquez could respond, a young technician approached. "Dr. Marquez, we've finished calibrating the quantum resonance interface. We're ready to begin." She nodded, her heart pounding with anticipation. "All right, let's proceed. Engage the interface at minimal power. We don't know how this thing will react." The technician returned to the control console, and moments later, a delicate hum filled the air as beams of light connected the archive to the chamber's holographic display system. The artifact responded instantly, its glow intensifying as streams of data began to flow outward, forming intricate patterns in the air. The room fell silent as everyone stared, mesmerized by the unfolding display. The first images were breathtaking. Planets, stars, and nebulae appeared, each one rendered with a level of detail that no human technology could replicate. Entire worlds were laid bare, their landscapes and ecosystems shifting in real time. Then came the civilizations, beings of every shape and form, from gaseous entities drifting through clouds of plasma to crystalline organisms that refracted light like living prisms. Each one carried a unique story, etched into the archive's memory. "It's beautiful," Marquez whispered, her voice filled with awe. But as the display continued, the beauty gave way to something darker. The holograms shifted, showing civilizations in decline, wars that scorched entire planets, ecosystems collapsing under the weight of unchecked industrialization, and leaders making desperate decisions in the face of existential threats. It was a history not just of triumph but of failure, a mirror reflecting humanity's own precarious position. "What the hell?" Harper muttered, stepping closer to the display. His soldier's instincts flared as he watched scenes of destruction unfold. Is this supposed to be a warning? Marquez's mind raced as she tried to piece together the meaning behind the archive's revelations. "It's not just a warning," she said slowly. "It's a pattern. Look at the timelines. These civilizations all reached a critical point, just like us." One image lingered longer than the rest. It showed a towering alien structure surrounded by desolation, its once great civilization reduced to ruins. Beneath it, glyphs identical to those on the Curator ship glowed faintly, as if mocking the species that had failed to heed their guidance. Marquez turned to the technicians. "Can you isolate that civilization's data? I need to understand what happened to them." The technician nodded and adjusted the controls. The holograms shifted, zooming in on the alien world. The data unfolded like a storybook, revealing a tale of hubris and despair. The civilization had been gifted advanced technology by the Curators, tools that could solve their greatest problems. But instead of using them wisely, they had exploited the technology for conquest, plunging their world into chaos. In the end, the Curators had withdrawn their guidance, leaving the species to face the consequences of its own choices. Harper's face darkened. "So, this is what happens if we screw up." Marquez nodded grimly. "The Curators don't interfere directly. They provide the tools and the knowledge, but it's up to us to decide how we use them." As the data stream continued, a new pattern emerged, one that sent chills down Marquez's spine. Hidden within the histories of the failed civilizations were subtle clues, fragments of a larger design. The glyphs weren't just symbols. They were part of a language, a universal code embedded in the fabric of the archive. It was as if the Curators had been weaving a thread through time, guiding the galaxy toward an ultimate purpose. "What's this?" Marquez asked, pointing to the repeating glyphs. "Focus the analysis here. I think there's more to these symbols than we realize." The technicians complied, and the holographic display zoomed in on the glyphs. As the data unfolded, it revealed a stunning revelation. The glyphs were a map, a blueprint that spanned the galaxy. Each point corresponded to a location where the Curators had intervened, forming a web of influence that connected civilizations across time and space. This changes everything," Marquez murmured, her mind racing. "The Curators aren't just guiding individual civilizations. They're shaping the entire galaxy." Harper frowned. "Shaping it into what?" Before Marquez could answer, the archive pulsed violently, its glow intensifying to an almost blinding level. The hologram shifted again, this time showing a vision of Earth. The planet appeared fractured, its continents marred by scars of conflict and ecological collapse. Above it loomed a massive construct, a structure eerily similar to the one in the alien ruins. The glyphs shimmered ominously around it, their meaning clear even to those who didn't understand the language. "This is the precipice." The room erupted into chaos as alarms blared, warning of the archive's sudden surge in activity. Technicians scrambled to stabilize the interface, but the artifact continued to glow brighter, its energy overwhelming the chamber's systems. "Shut it down?" Harper barked, his voice cutting through the commotion. "I'm trying," a technician shouted, frantically typing at the console. "It's not responding." Marquez stepped forward, her eyes locked on the archive. She could feel its energy pulling at her, as if it were reaching into her very soul. Despite the danger, she refused to look away. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the surge ceased. The archive dimmed, its glow returning to its previous gentle pulsation. The alarms stopped, and the chamber fell into an uneasy silence. "What the hell was that?" Harper demanded, his hand instinctively resting on his sidearm. Marquez shook her head, her hands trembling. "It's not just a warning. The Curators are showing us what's at stake. If we fail, this is what awaits us." Harper's expression hardened. "Then we don't fail." Marquez turned to him, her eyes filled with determination. "We need to understand this map, these glyphs. If the Curators are shaping the galaxy, we need to know why, and what role we're supposed to play." As the team regrouped, the weight of their task became clear. The archive wasn't just a repository of knowledge. It was a challenge, a test of humanity's ability to rise above its flaws and embrace its potential. The curators had given them the tools, but the path forward would not be easy. In the shadows of the observation room, the holographic map of the galaxy continued to shimmer, its secrets waiting to be uncovered. And as Marquez and Harper prepared to delve deeper into the archive's mysteries, they couldn't shake the feeling that their choices in the coming days would determine the fate of not just Earth, but the galaxy itself. Section 3, The Curator's Plan. The glow of the archive pulsed rhythmically, a faint reminder of the power and history it contained. In the weeks since the first data surge, Dr. Marquez and her team had worked tirelessly to decipher the glyphs, uncover the patterns, and unlock the deeper purpose hidden within the artifact. Each discovery brought new questions, and every answer seemed to spiral into a more profound mystery. Colonel Harper had taken on the role of an unofficial watchdog, monitoring the analysis sessions with a mix of suspicion and protectiveness. His instincts told him the curator's actions were calculated, and he refused to let his guard down. Yet even he couldn't deny the sheer magnitude of what they were uncovering. "We've isolated the map's central node," Marquez announced one morning, her voice tinged with both exhaustion and excitement. "It corresponds to a location near the galactic core, a system completely uncharted by human exploration." Harper frowned. "And let me guess, it's not just any system?" "Correct." Marquez gestured to the holographic display dominating the room. The map shimmered, zooming in on a star system surrounded by intricate glyph patterns. "This system appears to be the nexus of the curator's influence. Every civilization they've interacted with, successes and failures, ties back to this point." "Why the core?" Harper asked, his tone skeptical. "It's dangerous, chaotic. Hell, it's barely navigable." Marquez nodded. "Exactly. But the glyphs suggest that this location holds something crucial. It's not just the heart of their influence, it might be the key to their purpose." Before Harper could respond, the archive pulsed again, its light intensifying. The holographic map shifted, morphing into a new display. This time, it showed an enormous structure orbiting a blazing blue star. The construct was breathtaking, an intricate web of spires and rings, pulsating with an ethereal energy that seemed alive. Glyphs swirled around it, forming patterns that radiated outwards like ripples on water. "What is that?" Harper asked, his voice low with awe. Marquez stared at the image, her mind racing. "It's a megastructure, but unlike anything we've ever seen. It's ancient, far older than the curators themselves. They didn't build it, they discovered it." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. For all their power and knowledge, the curators had encountered something greater, something they now used as the foundation of their influence. One of the junior researchers, a young astrophysicist named Lee, broke the silence. "If the curators didn't build it, what's it for?" "That's what we need to find out," Marquez said, her voice firm. "But there's more. Look at these glyphs, they're converging. This structure isn't just a nexus, it's active. The patterns suggest it's been lying dormant, waiting for something." Harper's unease deepened. "Waiting for what?" Marquez didn't answer. Instead, she pointed to a segment of the glyphs that had only recently been decoded. "This phrase keeps appearing. The crucible of ascension. It's in the context of every civilization the curators have guided. I think this structure is the crucible. Whatever it is, it's central to their plans." Harper's jaw tightened. "And what happens if we go there and fail their test?" Marquez met his gaze, her eyes steely. "Then we risk becoming another entry in the archive, a cautionary tale for the next civilization." The journey to the crucible. The Commonwealth Council debated for days before granting permission for an expedition. The stakes were astronomical, both literally and figuratively. If the curator's guidance was genuine, this mission could redefine humanity's place in the galaxy. But if it was a trap, it could doom them all. Ultimately, the Council's decision rested on the simple truth that they couldn't afford to ignore the opportunity. The expedition was approved, with strict contingencies in place. The SSV Venture, humanity's most advanced exploration vessel, was selected for the mission. Its crew was a mix of scientists, engineers, and military personnel, handpicked for their expertise. Marquez was given command of the scientific team, while Harper was placed in charge of security. As the Venture prepared to depart, Marquez stood on the observation deck, staring at the stars. Harper joined her, his expression unreadable. "You don't have to come," Marquez said without turning. "This isn't your fight." Harper snorted. "Everything's my fight, document. Besides, if this crucible is a test, You're going to need someone who knows how to fight dirty? Marquez allowed herself a small smile. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. The journey to the galactic core was fraught with danger. The venture navigated treacherous gravitational anomalies and bursts of radiation from unstable stars. Along the way they encountered remnants of other civilizations, derelict ships and abandoned outposts, all eerily silent. Each one bore the same glyphs as the archive, a haunting reminder of the stakes. After weeks of travel they reached the system. The sight that greeted them was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The megastructure was even larger than they had imagined, its spires extending outward like the fingers of a colossal hand. The blue star at its center bathed everything in an eerie light, casting long shadows across the venture. The crew worked quickly to scan the structure, their instruments overwhelmed by the sheer scale and complexity of the readings. Marquez focused on deciphering the glyphs that covered its surface, searching for a way to gain entry. Anything? Harper asked, standing behind her as she worked. Marquez shook her head. The glyphs are layered, like a code within a code. I need more time. We might not have it, Harper said grimly, gesturing to the ship's sensors. There's something moving out there. The crew's unease grew as they detected faint energy signatures within the structure. It was as if the megastructure itself was alive, responding to their presence. Marquez's hands trembled as she continued her work, her mind racing against the clock. Finally she found the answer. A specific sequence of glyphs acted as a key, unlocking a passage into the heart of the structure. The venture maneuvered carefully, its thrusters firing in short bursts as it entered the opening. Inside, the team found themselves in a vast, hollow chamber. Pulsing lights lined the walls, casting shifting shadows across the space. At the center of the chamber was a pedestal, atop which rested an object that seemed to defy description. It shimmered like the archive but radiated a power far greater. Marquez approached the pedestal cautiously, her steps echoing in the silence. Harper followed close behind, his weapon drawn. What is it? Harper asked, his voice low. Marquez stared at the object, her breath caught in her throat. I think it's the source. The heart of the Curator's power. This is what they found, what they've been protecting. And what are we supposed to do with it? Harper asked. Before Marquez could answer, the chamber filled with a deep, resonant hum. The lights around them intensified, and the object began to glow brighter. A voice echoed in their minds, not the Curators but something far older. Asterisk, you have come to the Crucible. Prove your worth, asterisk. The test had begun. The test of humanity. The deep hum of the Crucible reverberated through the vast chamber, setting every nerve on edge. The object atop the pedestal pulsed with an otherworldly light, casting shifting shadows across the walls. Dr. Marquez and Colonel Harper stood motionless, their breaths shallow as the ancient voice echoed in their minds. Asterisk, you have come to the Crucible. Prove your worth, asterisk. Marquez's eyes darted to Harper. This isn't just a test of intellect, she murmured. It's a test of our essence, our capacity to be more than what we've been. And if we fail? Harper asked, his voice grim. We don't fail, Marquez replied firmly, though the trembling in her voice betrayed her own uncertainty. As if responding to their resolve, the chamber shifted. The smooth metallic floor beneath them dissolved into an endless expanse of stars. Around them, fragments of civilizations blinked into existence, visions of countless worlds, from lush paradises to barren wastelands. Each vision was accompanied by flashes of their histories, triumphs, and failures. Marquez's mind raced. It's showing us the lives the Curators touched, their successes and their failures. Harper stepped closer to her, scanning the shifting images. Why? What does this have to do with us? Before she could answer, the Crucible's voice returned. Asterisk, choice defines existence. Show us the truth of yours, asterisk. ####, the first trial. Empathy. The stars around them coalesced into a vivid scene. They stood in the midst of a devastated city, its ruins stretching into the horizon. Fires burned in the distance and the air was thick with smoke. Figures emerged from the rubble, beaten, bloodied, and broken. They were not human but humanoid, with elongated limbs and translucent skin that shimmered faintly in the dim light. They're refugees, Marquez said softly, her heart aching at the sight. A voice, colder and more direct, sliced through the air. Asterisk, their oppressors approach. You may intervene. But your resources are limited, and your interference could escalate the conflict. What will you do? Asterisk. Marquez and Harper exchanged a glance. We help, she said without hesitation. Harper hesitated. If we intervene, we risk starting something we can't finish. We don't even know who's in the right. Marquez shook her head. It doesn't matter. They're suffering and we have the power to help. That's what matters. Before Harper could argue, the scene dissolved. The Crucible's voice returned, resonating with an odd mix of approval and curiosity. Empathy guides your hand. A virtue or a risk? ####. The second trial. Knowledge. The chamber shifted again, now resembling a massive library, its shelves stretching endlessly into the void. Books, scrolls, and data crystals glowed faintly, inviting exploration. The Crucible's voice echoed. Knowledge empowers, but it also corrupts. Within these walls lies the secret to reshaping existence. Will you wield it wisely or let it remain hidden? Marquez stepped forward instinctively, her fingers brushing the nearest shelf. This is it, she whispered. The knowledge the curators have safeguarded for eons? Harper grabbed her arm. We don't know the cost. But think of what we could do with this, Marquez countered. We could end suffering, cure diseases, even prevent wars. And what happens when someone decides to use it for power? Harper shot back. Knowledge without wisdom is a loaded gun. Marquez paused, her mind torn between the allure of the possibilities and the weight of the responsibility. Finally she stepped back. We're not ready. Not yet. The library dissolved into darkness, and the Crucible's voice rang out once more. Restraint in the face of temptation. Wisdom or fear? ###. The final trial. Unity. The stars reappeared, forming a tableau of Earth. It was not the Earth they knew but one fractured by division. Nations waged war, ecosystems teetered on collapse, and the sky burned with the fires of humanity's hubris. The Crucible's voice grew louder, resonating with a sense of urgency. Your species stands at the precipice. Division threatens your survival. Show us how you will unite, or fall. Harper clenched his fists. How are we supposed to fix this? We're two people. Marquez looked at the scene, her heart heavy. It's not about fixing it ourselves. It's about showing that we can. She stepped forward, her voice firm. We learn from our mistakes. We fight for something greater than ourselves. That's what it means to be human. The Earth in the vision began to change. The fires dimmed and the fractures healed. The voices of countless humans, past, present, and future, rose in a crescendo, a chorus of determination and hope. ####. The verdict. The scene dissolved and the chamber returned to its original form. The Crucible pulsed one final time, its light bathing Marquez and Harper in a warm glow. You have shown empathy, restraint, and unity. Imperfect but sufficient. Humanity may proceed. The object atop the pedestal began to dissolve, its energy flowing into the archive. In its place, a new glyph appeared, one unlike any they had seen before. It pulsed with life, a symbol of both recognition and responsibility. What happens now? Harper asked, his voice low. Marquez stared at the glyph, her eyes brimming with both awe and determination. We become more than what we were. The curators have given us the tools. It's up to us to use them wisely. The Crucible dimmed, its task complete. As the venture exited the structure and began its journey home, Marquez and Harper stood together on the observation deck, staring out at the stars. Think we'll pass the next test? Harper asked, a rare note of humor in his voice. Marquez smiled faintly. If we keep learning, keep growing. I think we will. The stars seemed brighter now, their light a reminder of the endless possibilities ahead. Humanity's journey was far from over, but for the first time in millennia, they had a guide, and a chance to shape their destiny.